Welcome to the Hebron Global Transformation Initiative. We believe that you can succeed in a rapidly changing world. Join the community of men and women who are striving to be transformed leaders of healthy families, spiritually empowered and financially free. Don't you want to be part of us? Please go on and listen to the message.
Dear viewers, we are thank you and grateful today that we have another topic to discuss. But before we go into it in detail, we would like to appreciate you and thank you for your comments and even the views that we have seen from the presentation that we delivered some time back, presentations regarding spiritual empowerment, financial freedom principles, and insights that we have read and have even practiced for our own lives and our families. Also, been also sharing the leadership transformation and how a leadership model can be a very important instrument that you can use to make sure that people discover their purpose and serve the generation they are in and even the future. So we thank you. I appreciate your comments and contributions. Also, again, commend you, advise to continue to encourage us and share with us the comments. We keep you inspired and informed about different discussions. Today we are discussing 7 divine dimensions of Wednesday. Wednesday is a term that has been described in diction and in even different books as being wide. It is wide in different aspects that we are going to share with you. Wednesday is a term that which includes monetary instruments that we know we have been seeing and have been using, the money and money equivalents. It includes commercial papers. It includes certificates of deposits and even short-term investments such as preference shares of short-term in nature. It includes all kinds of bills and treasury people can use in different transactions. So it is a wide term. What is also is it goes to it include in its definition the number of assets that people will always possess and have been possessing. That we have seen. It includes, for example, land and buildings, includes another machineries and even vehicles and all sorts of long-term assets in nature. So whereas it also goes on to include intellectual component of the property, the trademarks, patent rights, and for example, the other instruments that you have seen in areas of technology. All these ones include the ideas, the concepts, the inventions and discoveries. All these ones are also part and parcel of the wealth. So wealth is a wide component. It also includes another aspect of spiritual connection. When we talk about, for example, wisdom, knowledge and understanding, all these ones have been, again, one also taken into account because it is there's a written scripture in the Bible, in the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36, which says that would it profit a man to gain the whole world and in the end lose his own life? So wealth includes even thinking about what comes in the aspects in the terms of spiritual perspective. So wealth is a wider term. When we have wisdom in our lives, when we have knowledge and understanding, all these ones can be used to let us deliver and achieve all those treasures and resources that we need. So it is a wide term. It is a wide term and it has been described by many authors and professionals in this area. So these dimensions of wealth, we talked about 7 of them, and we would like to begin with the first one on the list is the spiritual wealth. Spiritual wealth is an aspect that we were created in God's image. That's the first thing, and we were brought on this world and we were given everything that we need. For example, the land and all the deposits that is, of course, under beneath the ground and even on the top of layers of the earth, and we are given that knowledge and wisdom. Wealth is a concept that is broad and complex. So includes this aspect of spiritual kind of wealth. So it is good to gain knowledge and understanding and be able to gain the resources that you need. One of the wisest king in the Bible King Solomon once said that a wise man blessed is a person who can run from the triumphs and weaknesses of a very successful man. He also said that gold is good and silver is good and rubies are also good, but to be treasured above and far above everything is a person with knowledge and understanding and wisdom. So this is why we want to consider it as one of the first dimension of wealth, one of the 7 dimensions of wealth that we're going to talk about. A person with spiritual perspective, a person who is gifted with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, will be able to achieve and access every kind of resource on this planet. So whether it is written in the books, whether it needs a kind of a design, intellectual design, and even discoveries and inventions, or person with knowledge and understanding and wisdom will be able to achieve all these kind of treasures and benefits that we need in our lifetime today. So spiritual wealth is something that we can never ignore. Whoever wants to break through, whoever wants to be a different person, to bring impact and transformation in the lives of many people in the world, he has to have this kind of aspects that we have seen: the wisdom, the knowledge, and understanding. Because with that, we'll be able to get the rubies, you'll be able to get the gold and silver and all other treasures of life that a human being needs. So even the money, the other aspect we talked about, intellectual components of the physical and even the short-term resources, it can be achieved by a person with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So it is one thing that we must have in our lives. So seek knowledge. If you want fewer problems in life, if you want fewer difficulties and challenges in life, if you want to be successful person in life, run to be wise, run to be to understand, run to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So it is good. Even the book of James, chapter 1, from verse 5, it talks about whoever lacks wisdom should seek for it. If there's anybody among us in this planet who does lack wisdom, God knows that wisdom in most cases is something that is so precious enough that can be lacked by many. So whoever lacks that kind of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding should always seek for it. Read from the Bible, the book of James, chapter 1, verse 5, then you'll have an insight and guidance and direction on how wisdom, when we seek for it and when we learn about it, you pray and ask God and read books and even share continue to follow the insights of others who have been successful in the area or direction you want to go. You'll have this kind of inspiration and you move a different step of life. So spiritual, with its components of wisdom, wisdom, and understanding, it is something that you cannot do without. I commend you, I inspire you, I will always encourage you. It is a thing that every human being needs in life. So spiritual wealth is very important. So would you take a step of faith and begin to read all these scriptures? Read all these scriptures in the book of wisdom, in the book of Proverbs, where King Solomon talked about 37 different points about wisdom. So wisdom would cause great impact in human lives of people all over the world, and so you are there also to begin searching to get knowledge and understanding and wisdom. It will be possible for you, and it will make a difference in life, and you leave a legacy for your great grandchildren. So we thank you. Let's continue another aspect. We talked about 7 dimensions of wealth. The second one is about physical wealth. So this is another aspect of lives that we need to be stable. Physical wealth is the kind of strengths our bodies have. So this is the kind every person needs. This kind of strength comes when you make it intentional. You decide to be a disciplined person. You decide to not to avoid the kind of distraction that will have impact on your life. For example, if you would want to work excessive hours or take some drugs that would have an effect, disastrous consequences on your life, or this kind of distraction that will come into your physical life and then and destroy your life, should be avoided. So Again, it is good to nurture your life. It is good to take all these precautions to make sure that your physical life is in order. Yeah, I think we have come to understand that your success, your prosperity, your victory is dependent on physical life that is stable and healthy. So make sure that you don't drag your life with excessive drugs and addictions that will impact on what the body can sustain and even continue to be active. Make sure that you make enough sports and make enough physicals and even take a rest for adequate hours. For example, within a range of 6 to 8 hours, make sure that you refresh your life. So physical wellness is something that is you cannot do without. So without life, without sufficient life, adequate life, without healthy life, you are always your actions, whichever you'll be doing, will be hampered and will be affected. So physical wellness is something that you have to work on. You have to balance your actions and even have intellectual balance of your understanding, so that you may not be not suffer from physical repetitive stress injury that affects people's lives. So physical health is very important. Whichever you are doing it because your life is in order. So whenever your life is not in order, you never do anything that will make you succeed. So it is good to take serious precautions about your life. Make sure that you make the medical checkups maybe every 6 months, to ensure that all organs of your life are in order and you don't have any kind of diseases or illnesses that you might not be aware of. So it is good to take care of your life. Make sure that you take a lot of water, take a lot of adequate physical exercises, consult the nutritionist, and they give you guidance on how you do. Even feed yourself in terms of nutritious foods your body needs. So it is good to make sure that healthy physical body is so much important. If it is even written in the book of Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy 23:12, where Israelites were coming from the land of Egypt, they came into wilderness, and then they were devised to make kind of pit latrines where they'll be addressing their problems from. So it is even a recommendation from God. Having a good health will also have even spiritual balance and even connection to your maker. Having a physical health is something that you cannot do without. So it is good to make sure that your physical health is in order, to make sure that every kind of commitment you have, kind of vision or statement that you have, you want to achieve in life, it is all dependent on when you are strong and your life is in order and you are just balanced physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So make sure that your physical health is always stable and will be able to help you going forward. So I read from the book of Ezekiel chapter 7 from verse 13, where the Bible says that I will not let your merchants live longer, so that they reclaim their lost wealth. So living longer is one of the secrets of achieving success and ways that we talk about in this discussion. So as if you want to be a successful person, if you want to do great things, great excellence in your life, if you want to be a person of impact, you have to make sure that your body is in order, your health is good, and it is stronger. You are just balanced in terms of wealth and weight and all such kind of treasures that you need. Your body needs to be able to function and work in accordance with the requirements of a healthy body and healthy mind. So it is good to make sure that you do whatever it takes to be able to make sure that your physical wellness is good, is in order, so that you will achieve as many as you can in this life. So it is good to be obedient, again to have knowledge that we talked about. All these ones impact, become productive in a person who has a healthy mind and healthy body. Being a loving person, being all these things come, a glorious person comes in a mind that is stable and healthy and wealthy in terms of physical strengths and in terms of physical balance. All of us need them. So I will continue with another aspect, number 3, which we termed as social wealth. Social wealth is another aspect that has been proven to be very great and transformation. So your connection, your love of connection, your principles that you have laid forward to be able to connect with the rest of the world is paramount important. Your success, your future, your victory, your transformation is the hands of somebody you might not be aware of as of today. So it is good to make sure that you surround yourself with people who are able, who can inspire you, your influencers, your inspirers, your motivators, all these kinds of people. You need them in life to be able to achieve your purpose. You'll never step further without somebody at least trying to keep you up. So it is good to make sure that you connected with people who have direction, who have a purpose to achieve, who have a vision to work on and deliver, who have a commitment to accomplish. All these kind of individuals in life, you need them. So this comes when you have understood exactly what is the meaning and understanding of social wealth. So I will take an example in the Bible, a story of a prominent man called Joseph. Joseph is one of the famous dreamers in the Bible. From Genesis 41 going forward, Joseph was in the hands of Potiphar in his house and has been admitted and appointed as caretaker of the house and was a manager in his home. He suffered from accusations by Potiphar's wife and then was sent to the prison. And from this point of life, he met with other convicts, other prisoners who are in the same dungeon. And then Joseph had this kind of dream. He had this kind of gift that God has given him. He had the talent to understand and these people's situations and be even to who was righteous and connected with his maker, and then he would make a very inspiring interpretation of the dream. So in the prison, there were two other convicts with Joseph, and these two fellow men were from the parts of the king of Egypt, and these people, one was responsible for the wine of the kingdom, and another was responsible for the foods and food stuff, and was supposed to take care of the king's bread and make sure that the king receives sufficient and even clean and the kind of food that the king wanted. So these people were sent into prison. Then one morning they had a dream. They had a dream which challenged them. They were challenging and even scaring to the extent that they didn't know what was going to happen. They came to Joseph, and Joseph had been appointed as one of the chief guards of the prisoners. So was appointed there because God's favor was upon him. And then they talked about their dreams, and Joseph heard them, and then he told them, me as a person, as a human being, I have no capacity, I have no ability to interpret the dreams, but in heaven there is God who can interpret your dreams today. So he went and prayed and came back another moment, and then he started to interpret the dreams. So to cut the long story short, one of the chief cupbearer was released and sent back to the king's palace, and then the one who was responsible for the foods of the kingdom and was put to death. And then these dreams, as Joseph had interpreted them, they came true. So by the time the chief cupbearer was preparing to go back to the kingdom, so then he made a commitment, covenant with Joseph, and Joseph asked him, here you can see here in the country I'm in, I'm a stranger. I was purchased from Israel. I am a Hebrew slave. I'm in a foreign country where I have no brothers, no sisters, no uncles, no any other person. Make me get released from this prison. So please, if we go back to the king's palace, please make sure that you let my case be known to the king, so that I can be removed from here. So the Bible says the chief cupbearer went back to his position, and then thereafter he forgot about Joseph. He could not remember anymore, until there was a crisis in the kingdom. This crisis in the kingdom sparked the fact that Joseph was still in prison and had this talent, God-given talent of interpreting the dream. So he shared, after having been demanded the other magicians and future predictors of the kingdom and other kind of sorcerers who were there, who could not even interpret the dreams of the king. Then this chief cupbearer remembered that there is somebody in the prison called Joseph who can be able to interpret the dreams of the king. So they sent force to the prison back to bring Joseph to the kingdom. Then he came, and then the king asked him, I have heard that when you hear the dreams of any kind, you have the ability to interpret them. Then he again commented that I, for one, cannot be able to interpret the dreams of the king. But I remember, as far as I know, in heaven there's God who can always interpret any kind of dream. So your dream will be made known to you as soon as possible. So he went again and he consulted his God and then revealed the dream to the king. So the dreams were interpreted. We see Joseph being appointed as one of the second in command in the country of Egypt. Is made governor of the kingdom. So, and is appointed, is given different responsibilities and recognition of the highest level. This is one of the social welfare connection that we talked about. So, had he not been associated with these prisoners in the dungeon, wouldn't have been cited to be brought back in the face of King Pharaoh of Egypt, to be able to interpret his dreams and then make appointed to the highest level in his country as the second in command in the country of Egypt, and then he was given a mandate to deliver his country and then made it transformational. I think as soon as he was appointed, he was given 14 years mandate. 7 of them was about the correction of the abundance, overseeing the agricultural produce all over the country, and abundance and all kinds of treasure that was in the country was in the hands of Joseph. So this social welfare connection that he encountered with in the prison was the one that made him all this kind of greatness achieved in his life. So social welfare is one of the aspects that you cannot ignore and even forget. So even though God's hand was upon him, but again him being able to even to deliver in accordance with God's request and command and instructions and inspirations was another strength that we do not take for granted. So social welfare is a thing that we need to have in life. Make sure that you surround yourself with people who are very knowledgeable, who have wisdom, as we earlier mentioned, who have a great deal of understanding, who will be able to direct you, to show you a different direction that you would take. So it is good. So when you associate yourself with people who will never help you, they drag you down to things that will not make you succeed. Instead, you may end up failing. So social welfare is good. It is a kind of capability a person would need to have in life. So we recommend you and make sure that in your life, please look around people who can make you take a step of faith and go extra mile and then achieve your purpose. They are there. We have seen even the Bible. Jesus met 12 disciples, and then they have done a great amount of work, and they have spread the gospel of good news. The whole world now is enjoying the contribution and significance of these disciples and with their master Jesus Christ. So it is good to make a plan of action who you should bring on board in your lives to make sure that you sail over together and succeed together. It is good to be visionary. It is good to be connected to people with highest level purpose in life. So social welfare is something very great that we cannot just ignore, and we recommend you to ensure that please be proactive, be informed, be articulate in terms of deciding who you should allow to come into your life and be able to lift you up in different aspects of life you would want to lead. So we will continue with another aspect of welfare that we called community-centered welfare. Community-centered welfare is another aspect every human being needs to have in life. We all live in communities, in different countries, in different locations where we are surrounded by people. And these people are a blessing from God. So whoever is surrounded by people, whoever has this passion of being a team player in a community we are in, this is an opportunity, this is a chance that you have to make sure that when we make it, you work it with a passion, then it will bring you honor, it will bring you wealth, it will bring you a recognition, and even in the end, you have receive a reward from heaven of what you have done, the greater contribution you have done in the planet you are in, and even the kind of support you have given the society, you have given your own family. So community-centered wealth is one of the aspects that a human being needs to be able to be responsible to work on. We'll take an example in the Bible, in the book of Acts, chapter 9, verse 36, where we have a story of Dorcas. Dorcas, in her Greek name, she was called Dorcas, but initially she was called Tabitha. This is a woman who was identified as having a compassionate heart and merciful and even the undivided and unconditional love. He used to give support and lift up the widows in this country of Israel. And this person was known to have a very great heart in her life. She has contributed a lot to the widows and orphans in this country. She used to give them some clothes and food and every kind of help. I think a bit of support, whichever. It may have even been related to their health, their lives in terms of health. So this lady was a very hardworking lady, and she was known and loved by most of the communities around her village where she was in. So she contributed a lot. So the widows would come in and orphans and all kind of helpless people, the destitutes and all other kind of people who are not able to support their lives. This lady, Dorcas, made a kind of transformation to their lives, and they liked her, and again worked with her in different aspects of life, and then they achieved their purpose, and even their lives improved. So this lady, one time she got sick and even died. She died, and then people, the widows and orphans, and even the communities around, they were crying with a lot of grief and sadness. So then they heard about Peter, who was just preaching the gospel of good news in the neighborhood. Then they sent Peter to come and see what has happened, the incident which had claimed the life of a precious person in their eyes, who had contributed a lot in their lives and had made a great transformation in their lives. So Peter came in, and upon reaching on the site, and then he was sad, extremely sad, seeing people crying with the clothes that they were bringing in, and they were indicating all kind of support that this lady Dorcas was giving to the community. So Peter was touched in his life and then in his heart, and then said to pray for this lady Dorcas. The Bible says they went into upper room, and then they prayed until this lady Dorcas came back to life. She came back to life, and she was given back to the people whom she was helping in this area. So it is a community-centered wealth that people, this kind of greatness, this kind of contributions, the significance, the kind of support of this nature, of the capability of this level, this lady was doing, you can also do it. You have the talents, you have the skills, you have the abilities, you have the experiences, and all such kind of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you have in your life. You can use them, you will use them, and even do greater than this lady Dorcas has done. So make sure that you become a person of value, add value to people, make it a priority, make it a contribution, make it a commitment that you live a life of significance. So make sure that poor people who are in your village, in your area, everywhere where they need help, make sure that you're prepared to give the kind of contribution you can. You can be able to be giving in time that you have this chance. So people will not remember what you've done, even the wealth, the amount of accumulation you have, the billions of money you have in account, or other kind of greatness you have achieved in life. but they remember the kind of support, the kind of life changing you have done in their lives. They remember all such kind of support that you have given them. They only remember all this kind of concern that you indicated when you appeared in a situation and people were stranded and you were frustrated, didn't have any kind of direction. Then you give them a sense of purpose and you give them a sense of contribution. So people have to remember you and even to bless your great grandchildren even when you're gone. So community-centered whereas those who have understood this principle have gone far, extremely far, and they have made a great impact in the lives of many. So there is another aspect of our current situations. I think in the last 10 years, you had a lady called Mother Teresa of Calcutta of India. She lived in this country for many years, and she was a nun by her profession. She had an organization called Home for the Dying. Home for the Dying, this lady was very instrumental and significant in her time. She made sure that all these incapable people were suffering from hunger, poverty, and even health issues, and even the accommodation, the feeding, and every kind of resources a human being would need to have in life. She had all this passion and commitment and a zeal to make sure that these people are helped. So this lady had done great contributions in her life. She was given even the different medals, I think, of her contributions and achievement in the society she was in at her time. In the end, the Catholic Church canonized her as a saint in 2016. So this lady had also indicated the kind of community-centered way she's still remembered. She was canonized as a saint, continue to be remembered of her contribution. So it is good for everyone in the society. It is good for whoever has this passion, has this calling, has this ability and burden in her heart or his heart, be able to make sure that the communities, different communities, and with their respective different problems and circumstances, are helped and transformed to become people of value, to become people of importance. So it is good, make it an assignment, make it a passion or a commitment to make sure that at least you change the life of a person, at least one person in life, make sure that you deliver that kind of person from all such kind of circumstances, the bondage of poverty, of sickness, even kind of lack of education, any kind of contribution, something you can give to a person, make sure that you change life. So you'll be remembered by what the amount of contribution of impacted on different lives of people in the society we're in. So we encourage you, as soon as you hear this message being spoken and being shared, please make sure that you make it a commitment. It is good. It will be remembered not only by the communities around you, even maybe the administrative functions and offices. It will also be written in the book of life in heaven, how much contribution I've done it even earn you the kind of recognition and award in heaven. It is an assignment that you shouldn't ignore. So make sure that you do not live for your own. Make sure that you are there for somebody to change life. We make sure that all these 7 divine dimensions of wealth are respected and worked on. So another aspect that has been seen to be one of the dimensions of wealth is intellectual wealth. Intellectual wealth is the kind of innovation that is now on the knob. So currently we have migrated from industrial age and even agricultural age, and now we are heading to information age. This information age needs a lot of discoveries and inventions. It needs a lot of patents and the trademarks and even trade secrets, and also such kind of, it includes different aspects of things that people need to work on and bring so that they bring transformation in lives of people and even their own lives. So your ideas, your concepts, your thoughts, your designs, your this kind of designs and structures that you can make can in the end be developed into something that of intellectual nature, and then it will bring you wealth that you cannot even account for. So it is an aspect that the world now is focusing on. We have seen all these international and even the global kind of communication media that we see and we even enjoy, and sometimes we get some insights on them, such as the YouTube channels and even the Facebook, these kinds of Twitter and the other WhatsApp, or this kind of intellectual makeup in nature. They have changed the lives of many. So whoever has this kind of insight, this kind of a skill and gift and talent in this field, make sure that you use it completely to make sure that you bring wisdom to your own life, to the generation you are in. Make sure that the knowledge you have is not wasted doing nothing. Please make sure that you use it to discover, use it to invent, use it to bring forward some of the solutions, applications that people need in our time, so that it is another chance, so that to make a transformation as easy as possible. It is a chance that has been brought on the surface of our generation today. So make sure that if you are gifted in that such kind of area, please don't waste that resource. It is precious. There's so much, it has so much enough that can make people's transform their lives and make a good transformation in their lives in the end. So please develop yourself intellectually. So how can this be done? You have to seek for those who have been successful in this field. You have to read books, you have to read journals, you have, of course, you have to make a kind of research and extensive research and developments. Make sure that you are at par, you are conversant with the technology that is coming on. So please make sure that consult different successful people have done this great work even before, to make sure that you are guided, you are inspired, and you make a contribution in your time. So it is an opportunity that is wider. It is not going to shed off tomorrow. It is there to stay. By nature, this kind of kind of technology has an infinite useful life. It does not have an end. Whenever you have come up with a solution that is very much needed and required by many, desired by many individuals on the planet, it will have to stay forever. What you will do, you will continue to make a lot of research and developments to make sure that you modify it, make it advanced, and so that it continue to bring resources and continue to change lives of many. So this is another aspect that is very much required and needed in our time today. Intellectual literacy is something that you cannot ignore. We recommend all those who are still learning, the runners who are still discovering such kind of solutions and applications. Make sure that continue to expand much more and share insights to the rest of the world, so that they can tap and benefit from all such kind of benefits and gifts and blessing God has given, placed in your heart and your head. Please make sure that you don't become self-centered. Instead, just be a sharing person, be a person for others, be a person of value, a person who will bring significant and contribution in this generation. So you'll be rewarded spiritually, you'll be rewarded materially, and you'll be rewarded financially. So it is even emotionally, you have such kind of satisfaction when you make an application and to become successful and changes lives of many people. Then you'll be motivated naturally, and then you have a kind of happiness in your life and in your heart. So thank you. Again, we continue to share other insights which we talked about, 7 dimensions of wealth. So the number 6 on the list is about financial wealth. Financial wealth is one of the aspects most people, millions, billions of people in the world at least try to understand. Only that there are kind of techniques and beliefs and behaviors human beings would like to take to be able to make sure that they achieve this financial wealth. So this financial wealth is a very thing that every human being needs in life. So only that there are chances that people might understand, be aware of what should be done, and others still in great environments that they don't even know what they should be doing. So they have to work in order for them to survive and to live. No, don't ask them about investment. Don't ask them about being a blessing to other communities in the world. So financial wealth is one of the key components of these 7 divine dimensions of wealth. Say financial, you have different, wanted to share with you brief basically insights that people can use to be able to at least begin from somewhere, not to begin from scratch. One of the things that you should learn to be doing if you have been given a chance, for example, to work, or if you haven't started working, you can think in terms of gaining financial literacy and gaining financial ability to make money in life. So you may even take a step of faith, even though you don't have the kind of job that can make you earn some monetary benefits. So if you can make a business plan, for example, in a field where you're gifted, you have your talents and gifts and abilities, to make sure that you can use those resources God has given you, which are natural for you, and make a business plan and present it to institutions of a financial institution or any other development organization that support people and achieve their purpose and work on their dreams. So you have this kind of business plan, and you're well prepared, and you have used your skills and talents and gifts you have and experiences, and you present it, and then you have to have a capital to begin with. This is one of the aspects that I encourage you to make. So it doesn't need you to be having money. It needs your commitment and your motivation to make sure that you have this plan on board. So and then we also can recommend to those who are working, for example, whichever kind of job you are doing, kind of employment you are doing. For example, if you are doing a job that brings you a return at the end of the month or on a monthly, weekly basis, so you are required to make a bit of savings. A portion of this earnings should be saved. For example, the principle which has worked for many in the years past, and even which will continue to work even the years to come, is the principle of getting at least 20% of your earnings and make sure that it is saved, fixed on bank account, so that you cannot be tempted to use it anytime you need it. So this kind of technique or strategy will help you to make sure that you make a kind of accumulation in terms of savings. So in the near future, you may begin a business, then thereafter, from the business, transform your business to an investment that will bring you stable incomes, and then you begin to earn passive income, an income that you not need you to be there all the time or monitoring what is going on, and even wasting a lot of time and energy trying to see what is going on. So make a kind of saving, 20% of earnings, make sure that you reserve it aside, and make sure that you use it to make a kind of investments in the future. Another aspect that you cannot ignore, first principle that we have seen working, and it is even spiritual and biblical, is make sure that 10% of your earnings should be given as tithes to the ministry of God. So 10% is a principle. It is not your earning, and this is a test for you to see if you have been trustworthy, if you are dependable, if you recognize the source of your life, and why the capacity to make the kind of the business you're making, or the kind of job that you do. So 10% is a must, and it is a recommendation, and it is written in the Bible from the book of Malachi, chapter 3, from verse 10, where it says that, try me with the tithes and offerings, so that I will open the gates of heaven, and I'll give you lots of blessings that you will not even contain them anymore. So this kind of God's principle has worked and will continue to work. 10% of that earnings, whichever value of whichever should be given as tithes, and even without even forgetting about the offering, that with an amount that you can afford to pay as an offering. So it is a principle we want to try God. Who has given us energy, has given us the ability and power, and even the strengths and the other physical ways that we talked about when we were starting our presentation. All these ones come from God. So you need to remember the source of your blessing, the source of your strength, the source of your life being productive, and even contributing to whoever, giving back to whoever has given to you. So we recommend people to continue to comply with these terms and conditions, biblical principles. When you become principled in terms of the word of God, God will understand you. Your commitment will see your commitment, and even bless every action your hands that you have taken, as the Bible says. So we are saying that again, another principle that you cannot even ignore is that when you make an extra income, an income that is an extra, that which is not tied to your daily activities and employment, or near the daily business activity. So you have done an assignment which you didn't even plan for, and by God's luck, and you have seen such kind of blessing coming on your way, and you have earned the amount of resources. Make sure that 80% of this amount of earnings saved on a bank account, that you cannot be tampered or easily tampered, to use it so that in future you use it in your business and you use it in your investment. 20% can be used, while 10% of it, again, of 20% is paid as a tithe, because you still recognize and remember the source of your blessing. So 80% of an extra income that is not has not been planned for, that has not been even factored into your business plan. So this kind of resources that is coming in, make sure that 80% of it is just saved. So make sure that in the future we use it for future investment. So this is another principle that you need to bring on forward. So make sure that you live on a budget. Budget is telling your money where it should be going, instead of wondering where it has gone. So a budget is a must. You have to have budget lines that clear for you, and make sure that some of the amount of resources you earn as a benefit or as an income is not all of it is consumed. You know how much you're saving, you know how much you're spending on basic needs, on wants, and the other kind of spending that you need. So make sure that in this kind of financial literacy, make sure that at least you have a budget and you do not have to live above your means. Make sure that you try to live below your means. So when you earn $1,000 or $500 or $100, make sure that 30% of it is saved on different various bank accounts. Another thing that you need to have in life is to have an emergency account. An emergency account where you have an emergency fund. This emergency fund is a fund that will be there for you to take care of emergencies that might come. You know, some emergencies in most cases do not they come by surprise. They are not indicators of it happening that you can even monitor and see. So by all of a sudden see it coming. So it is prudent and wise any person who wants to be financially free to have this kind of emergency fund. This emergency fund, make sure that 6 months of your monthly expenses are saved on this bank account. At least 6 months of living expenses that you have been using to spend on a monthly basis saved on emergency account to be able to handle the emergency issues as they arise. So when this amount of money has accumulated and from the historical experience, you have seen that you have not suffered any kind of emergency, you can use portion of it into another future investments to make sure that you expand your opportunities and your perspective of earnings is expanding, and even a financial freedom is achieved. So another aspect that we cannot ignore in this aspect is trying to avoid too much debts as it could be. Debts the Bible says debt is always a slave to the lender. So this is a thing that has been commented, been talked about spiritually in the Bible, and it is true. So when you have too much debt that you cannot even service, so it may cause not only cause you financial distress, it may also cause you emotional distraction and become unhappy in life. So it is good to make sure that you have debts that you can manage. Managing debt is another technique or another grace that you need to understand to be able to make sure that it is serviced. So when you have some debts, make sure that when you want to redeem them back, make sure that you begin with those debts with highest interest rates. So those debts which constitute higher amount of interest rates must be catered for first for the first time on the first place, and so make sure that at least you will try to reduce the burden, and then in the future make sure that all such kind of high level debts are minimized and reduced completely from your life. And make sure that even these small debts in the neighborhood where you come across in the evening, maybe pick up some food stuff to take at home and give your children and your family. All such kind of debts are also very may also give people hard time and make you try to be crossing around in the neighborhood, and people would begin to yell at you and shout at you, saying that you have never been faithful and not even committed, you did not make a clear commitment of what you have taken in the neighborhood, in the shops in the neighborhood. So you need to make sure that they are cleared so that you have stability and confidence in the community you're in. So another aspect that we recommend every people to have is again to make sure that if you have some debts of people, be it small or bigger, make sure that you make a list of them and begin to call them, discuss with them, talk to them, and call them and make them comfort so that they do not continue to call you frequently, so that give them confidence that and try to honor your promise as you begin to settle those differences with them. So it is good to call each and everyone and give them put them in a mood that they will not continue to exact amount of pressure and stress that is not necessary. So it is good, again, good advice that we recommend every kind of person who wants to be financially free. So let's continue again to the last point that we have on our list of 7 the divine dimensions of wealth. The last one is generational wealth. Generational wealth is another aspect that we need to have in life. We have lived for years and years and we will never live forever. So, but a righteous man, the Bible says, a righteous man walks in his integrity. Blessed are those who will come after him. This is a principle to want, again, to work on as long as we live, as long as we have the chances and opportunities to work on and make some difference. So, a good man, the Bible says in the book of Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves inheritance to his children's children. So if you're a good man and want to leave an inheritance to your children's children and great grandchildren, it is good to again think about generational wealth. Generational wealth will not be the vehicles you have at home and the motorcycles and bicycles and all these things, that the furnitures and even inventory of materials, of resources in the business you have, that will not even live more than 5 years. So we would like to recommend you to be working on is just to think about all those properties that will live longer, properties that you enjoy and use it and maximize it, and then when you're gone, your children and grandchildren also benefit from this. So one of these aspects include land, the buildings, the intangible assets, as we talked about, copyrights, licenses, and patents and all the other intellectual property in nature. So the acts of intellectualism also a part and parcel of the the generational wealth. All these sources make sure that they are not impaired completely and they even lost in your hands, and they are nurtured and increased and developed much more greater. Then you use them and even leave them to your children and great grandchildren to come. So generational wealth is another wealth that you need to have and bring forward. Make sure that all these things that can not live more than 5 years with their respective useful lives, make sure that you don't even take much of your time to invest in them. Make sure that you invest in those assets that will live longer, that will have a lifespan greater than your own life. So these are the 7 key generational wealth principles that we talked about. But as this aspect also has another aspect of social aspect that can also serve as a part and parcel of the generational wealth. We'll give an example of a relationship that appeared in the Bible. There was an incident of King David and his friend Jonathan. Jonathan was a son of King Saul, who was ruling in the country of Israel. And then King David was being anointed as the next king. But again, King Saul started to fight against him and run after him day by day. So for him to succeed and even to do a great work and even initially succeeded King Saul, was an intimate and close relationship with his son Jonathan. So Jonathan became a great friend, risked his life, and he was even a dependable person. He had a kind of commitment and love which he loved King David. So in the end, all of a sudden, Saul and his son went on the war in the field, and then they were killed in that battle. Then King David took over the throne. He took over the throne and then lived for some years, and then he remembered the kind of relationship they had with Jonathan. Then said, one time he said, is there any person who might have been left in the family of King Saul, so that I may bless him? So they remember that there was a person called Mephibosheth, who was a son of Jonathan, who had died on the battle with his father. King David recommended to go and took him where he was in the land of Lodebar, and they brought him to the king's palace, and then started to share all greatness in the kingdom. So, and then when he arrived, we have seen David declaring that all the properties, all the resources your grandfather King Saul had will be granted and be given to you as a recognition of goodness and intimacy and love of your father Jonathan that has done. This is another aspect of generational waste that we cannot remember. Please, in your life, wherever you go, make sure that every kind of life you make sure that you have all such kind of people, great people like Jonathan, relationship and King David. So in the future, you never know, your children and great-grandchildren will benefit from such kind of support and that was received by Mephibosheth under the recognition of his father Jonathan. So please, this is another aspect that you cannot ignore. Whichever you are doing, do it with understanding that tomorrow it might bring a different difference and it will change people's lives. Make sure that increase the kind of relationship with you. A chance you have today to live in should be spent wisely. As led to the extent that every kind of step you make in life will have impact in people's lives, and they remember the greatness and goodness you have done in their lives. Thank you so much being with us, and we thank you for your comments and likes, and we recommend you and encourage you to continue to subscribe on our channel. Or keep you inspired and will keep you informed in every kind of developments that you have, and every kind of insights that will be preparing and sharing on this channel will be instrumental and informational. To different lives of many, and it will support you as we have been supported likewise. We thank you so much, and most importantly, have a great time, have a great moment in life. God bless you as you continue to meet, I think, in the near future. Thank you for now, and bye.